hey, we are going to build this automation system where we are able to generate loads and loads of blogs and interesting blog articles. So we are going to start by first researching what kind of blog or niche that we want to get into, because as you can imagine, there's a ton of content on the internet. And then we'll also look at how to go about sourcing new data or new news articles for these topics and niche articles that we want to write. And then finally, we'll build this really awesome automation using make.com, which will look at all the articles. It's not just one article that we are just summarizing and writing. We look through all the articles, kind of rank it using Perplexity, and finally post it to our WordPress website over here, where we're able to create, right now it's just a draft, but it just can publish everything. And it looks something like this, where you have the course, the blogs, and even the references to go with it as well. So it kind of makes your article kind of expert driven, or kind of like a thought leadership. And I almost forgot, we also have this ways of making money with your blog, and I have some calculations, and I'll show you different ways of going about monetizing your blog as well. So stay till the end. So if all that sounds good, then hit that like button and also subscribe to my channel for more of such similar videos. And let's jump into this now. So even before researching the articles or finding the news stories about articles that you want to automate for this blog, we'll come into ChatGPT and do some market research on the kind of niche blogs that is going to generate most amount of revenue for us. So here's a very simple prompt. Again, this was a very quick prompt. If you want, you can add more details into it and then make it your own, and then have it more data driven as well. So here I'm saying I want to start a niche blog that can generate passive income. Give me niche blog ideas, and this is the criteria. And I'm saying rank them in order of potential to make the first buck or a dollar, and then give me SEO optimized blog names for it. So we are able to go in and buy some domain names if we want, and also potential revenue within 3 to 6 months. So here are some blog ideas that it came out with. So digital nomad parenting, it kind of says 3 to 6 months, you're able to generate this kind of revenue per month. And here are some SEO blog names, but you don't have to stick to this. You can come with your own names, or you can use this as a blog URL as well. So you can search for remoteparentingadventures.com. I'm pretty sure these kind of names won't be taken, and you'll pretty easily get a .com domain to purchase. And here it also gives us a description of what we want to do, like tips and resources for parent travelers, ways of monetization. So you can go and do lots of research like this. And if you have a particular niche that you're interested in, maybe it's real estate in a particular city or a country, or maybe it's some of your hobby that you want to get started with as well, you can come in here and research, and then you can build blogs for each of those niche ideas. So again, because we are automating so many of these, you don't have to stick to just one blog site. You can have as many blog sites as you can manage. So once you have a niche blog idea or a site decided, you can come in and add this prompt, where I'm just giving ChatGPT some information, or asking some information on how I can go about building my blog and monetizing it as a step-by-step blueprint. And it'll give you something that's really useful. But one thing I want to make sure that we pay attention to is content creation. So there's a lot of weeks in here that is dedicated to this, but because we're automating this, so all this can be automated in make.com or any other tool that you want to use for automation. And you are saving all of this, and then you can focus on doing promotional traffic and monetization. So the actual business part you can really focus in on. So for this video, the blog I've chosen is AI tools. And in this blog, I'm going to write about all the AI tools for a specific profession, like for lawyers, for healthcare, for designers, developers, etc. And I don't want to just write what's already out there. I want to get the latest news articles and then research on it and then write about it. So a place to start for that is come to news.google.com over here, and then search for something like this, AI tools for lawyers. And this can be anything that you want to build your blog on. So if it's real estate in your place or a country, you can search for that. And then here is the key. If you just search for this, then it's going to give all the news articles for maybe last year or last 2 years, 5 years, whatever it is. But when I say when:1D, then it's going to give me only the news articles that were published in the last 24 hours. Again, you can change this to any number of days you want, or you can click on the settings this, I believe. And then you can set it somewhere over here. Actually, it is in this drop down over here. You can set past 24 hours or anything like this, and then it should automatically update this. So just looking at this, there are loads and loads of news articles that were published in the last few 24 hours, 19 hours ago, 22 hours ago. So what I want to do is I don't want to just pick out the top news or the most recent news and then publish it as a blog. I want to look through all these news publishers that were happened in the last 24 hours and pick out a tool that makes most impact in that profession, and which I think is going to an exciting discussion for the months to come. So here's the deal. So we are going to pick out and create an RSS feed out of it. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry. I'm going to show you how to do that, which will automatically pull in all these URLs at a time. And then we are going to start building our automation. So keep this tab open and pay attention to this URL for now. And we'll jump into rss.app. Again, there's a free tier on this as well. But if you want to take this blog thing really seriously, you can upgrade to the monthly plan, like $9 or $10 based on your requirements. But you come in here and click on get started now, and then you'll be in a dashboard like this, and you click on new feed over here, and all we have to do is copy and paste the URL from Google News. So I'll just copy this and come in here and paste it just like that and click on generate. So what this will do is it's going to go through that URL and populate this dashboard with all the articles that were listed there, and you can play around with all the filters and the settings and the widgets and how you want to view this. But this is essentially what we are after. So now I'm just going to save to my feeds. So this is saved in my feed. So now I can come in here and then say AI tools for lawyers. I'll just call it version 2 and save as well. And then if I come into my feeds, you'll see that there is lawyers version 2 over here. So if I just click into it, there is this dashboard with all the articles. And one more thing that we want to pay attention to is this feed URL over here. And I can just copy this using XML or JSON, whatever format. So this is good. So now we have a way to get all the news articles that were shown in this news.google.com. So let's get started with our automation, and we are going to use make.com, which used to be called as Integromat in the past, but nowadays it's called make.com. And there's also other automation tools like N8N and other ones, but for now N8N is not what we're going to use. We're going to use make.com. So once you log in, you can come in here and click on scenarios, which will show a screen like this, and then click on create new scenario. So if this is your first time on make.com, so essentially what you want to do is click on this plus button over here, and then it'll show you loads and loads of tools. So you can see the scroll bar is so small. That's the number of tools that you can add here. And then as you add more and more, you can build a chain of tools that can just be a single line of chain or like branches within the chain, which we're not going to go into today's scenario or orchestration. And then finally, you have ways to run your scenario as well. So let's get started. Let's me click on this and then click on RSS. So when I search for RSS, you'll see we have two options. One is a trigger, so we can watch for RSS feed item. This is exactly what we want if the RSS feed is kind of really heavy on pushing out new articles. Otherwise, you could just use this where it retrieves RSS feed items from specified URLs. So let me just click on this, and you'll see we have a URL field over here. And if I jump back to my rss.app, you'll see this is the URL I have. So I can just copy this, come back to make.com and paste it in here. Date from day 2, I don't want to worry too much because I know in this RSS feed, we are only getting last 1 day's worth of data. And if you look at the filters and look at the plan that you're on, you'll probably have a limit of 25 or 50 articles. In my plan, I am limited to 25 articles. So that's fine. Every day, it kind of pushes new articles. So here I'll say maximum number of returned items as 25. So again, what we want to do here is we want to get all those 25 articles and pick out the one that makes worthy of us to write a blog article about it, right? So this is good, and I can just hit OK, and I can just run this module once, and you'll immediately see we have the input over here, and then within the output, you'll see we have loads and loads of articles, and I can keep scrolling. We have about 14 articles right now because that's what we got from Google news, but it can pull up to 25 articles. So the next job for us is to screen all these articles for the most exciting article. And for that, we are going to use Perplexity. So here I am on Perplexity website, and I can come down to my settings over here and click on API. Now, there is a reason for me to use Perplexity, mainly because I want to give it URLs and ask Perplexity to go in and search those URLs and scrape those URLs and get me the information that I want. I could use ChatGPT as well, but in this case, I'm just using Perplexity because it has that built-in ability to go and search the internet for me. So here, if I come into API, you might have to add in some credits over here. So I've just been playing around with this credit that I've got here. And if you want, you can top up and buy credits. But the important point over here is come to API keys and click on generate API. And it looks something like this. And you can just copy this and come back to make.com. And once you're in make.com, click on this plus and search for Perplexity. And here we want to select create a chat completion. And if you don't have a connection established yet, you can come in here and click on add. And here is where you would put your API key. I'm just going to cancel it because I already have it. And here is the model that we want to use. You can come back to Perplexity and click on the supported models to look at the types of models that are supported by Perplexity. But I'm just using 128K small, I believe. And then I'll come in and click on messages. And here I'm going to say user. And for now, let's just say hello. And I want to take a step back and explain what we've done so far. And I'll click OK. And don't forget to save your scenario. So this is good. So we got some URLs from here, which you can click on this and then look at all the URLs. So what we want to do is we want to pass in a prompt and then only the URLs from here. So we have URLs over here, and maybe for this article, there is also a similar URL as well. So I just want to send all the URLs that I got from this news article's RSS feed, pass that on to Perplexity and let Perplexity go in and visit each of these websites and then see if there's anything noteworthy or exciting in that particular news article, and then give me only the top article which is worthy of writing a blog around it. So that's what we're going after. So let me just click back into here, and instead of a hello, let me paste in my prompt. So here I'm saying you are a research assistant, and I'm just saying I'm giving you a few URLs, so rank them and double check that you're only giving me a single URL as a response. And here we want to send in the URLs that we got from the RSS feed. But here's the first challenge that we have, because there's no easy way to get all the URLs as a line item that we can just send it over here. So we need to do some transformation. So this is get interesting here, because learning this can help you build very, very complex scenarios within make.com. So we know we want to get all the URLs from here as just a line item, row by row, and we want to send that over to Perplexity. So I'm going to break this now. So here, let me just click on unlink, and let me just move this over, make some space for myself, and click on plus again. And there should be a way to parse all the data that we've got from this URL. And the name of the tool is called Table Aggregator. So I can just click on this. And here, all I'm doing is I'm just selecting the URL because it's already picking up the source, which is coming from here. And I'm saying I just want the URLs. That's fine. And I can also click on the advanced options over here and then look at the separator. So for a row separator, I'm just going to say new row. So I just want URLs on their own rows. I don't have any columns. So if you want, you can also send the title and then get a column separator, kind of like building a CSV file. But I don't want all that. I just want to keep this really simple for now. And I'll click on OK. And you'll see these yellow notifications over here. And if I just click on this, it says the transformer should not be the last module. But we already have a Perplexity module over here. So I can just move this in place and it kind of gets connected. So let me just rename this node for now. So I'll just rename this. I'll call it research URLs. So this is fine. Now let me just click on save because we don't want to forget saving. And let's just run this once and see what kind of output we get at this end. So now I just click on run once and it looks like it did something and everything is green. Let's just click on this and we see the exact. And then if I click on this button over here, we'll see we have all the URLs which were the input. And if I click on the output text, you'll see on each line we have just the URLs from all these articles. So this is good. Now we want to pass this over to Perplexity. So if I click on this, so if I click on messages, expand this out, and we did not include that URL. So let me come back back and fix this. So if I click on this, and here we'll say we want to include the text which is coming from the table aggregator, and let's just run this one more time. So now this has run. Let me click on this again. Let's look at the input first. So we have this prompt that we gave and all this URLs that is coming from table aggregator, and I can also come back to the output section, click on choices, expand this, and let's look at what result we got from our Perplexity. So as we can see, we are getting one URL which Perplexity did some research on and thought this was the most noteworthy URL that we can explore and build a blog article on. So now we have one URL from Perplexity. We'll also send that URL back and then ask Perplexity again to generate a more comprehensive blog, but not just looking at that URL. We want to tell Perplexity to go in and research a bit more about the contents of that URL, so it kind of aggregates more information to build a more comprehensive article for us. So we'll click on this node again and let's select Perplexity again, create a chat completion, and this should be fairly familiar for you now, and we want to give it a prompt over here. And let me just paste this prompt over here and select the user role, and all I'm doing here is I'm saying you are a blog writer for Perplexity, and I'm going to say I'll give you a URL, make sure it's clean URL, and here is the URL of the article. So let me just look at this, and the URL that we want to pass here is actually coming from a previous chat completion for Perplexity, where I can go to choices, messages, and then content over here, which you can already see there is a URL, and I'll just select that and click on OK. So let's just explore what we just did. We added a prompt which is asking Perplexity to go and generate an SEO optimized unique blog articles, and we're also asking it to generate references and double check they are included at the bottom of the article. So this is good. Let's just run this one more time and see what we get. So here we see all the steps are running, and we also got the URL from this Perplexity, and now you can see here this is a bit of intensive work for Perplexity because it has to go and research and generate the article. So you can just click on this and see what kind of output we got. So we did indeed get one single article, and we also have this Perplexity which has finished its operation. So we can click on this and we'll see the messages. So we see the prompt that we sent along with the URL. So this is the input, and then finally we have this output section over here, and if I click on this should have our blog article, I'm hoping. So let me just open this up. Okay, and looking at the article that we generated, I don't really like the title that it's given. So it says how to write SEO optimized blog. So maybe we need to fix this in our prompting, but that's not a big issue. But if I look at the actual article content itself, this is looking really cool. So we have in the realm of legal technology innovation tools, and of course we have one such tool called Pathfinder Deadline Guardian, cutting edge AI driven legal calendar and deadline application. This is perfect. I wanted to build a blog around AI tools for professions, in this case lawyers, and it does look like we have a new tool that's in the market that was reported by Google News, and we found this. And if I scroll this, there's so many other things that it's managed to capture. And let's look at the final section. So we have some meta tags, SEO optimization. Maybe I can just include this in a prompt, and I don't really need this, but it also has some conclusion parts, but I don't see the URLs that it has used. So maybe double check on all these things before publishing, and if you're really specific about getting these articles, links, and so on. So that brings me to another point where we can directly publish this to WordPress or your blog, or you can save it as a draft and you can go in and do the final touches or give it your own elements, the human touch, if you will, and then publish it to your blog site. So one of the things that I've noticed here as well, sometimes in here within Perplexity, it might not generate a URL like this. It might also have some text and then say this is the URL. So I've noticed that. So if that's happening to you, so you can come in here and, like always, let's unlink this chain. I just want to show this so that it stays as a reference in this video for you and for myself as well. And here we are going to add a text parser, and here I want to look at match pattern, and we're going to give it a regex. And if you don't know what regex means, don't worry about it. You can ask Perplexity about it and it'll generate a regex for you, but I'm just going to say match pattern, and this is the pattern that I'm going to give. So this matches the URL. So even if there's a blob of of text, it's going to give me only the URL from it. And I'm saying it's case sensitive. It's not actually multi-line, single line. This is all fine. And then the text input that goes into this is actually the Perplexity input or the output, sorry. So we have this content that goes there, and then click on OK. So if you remember from the previous step, we can't just leave it as a end node, this transformations node over here, so it connects to Perplexity. So let's just run this one more time and see if all these steps run smoothly. So it looks like it's doing this thing, but I want to specifically look at this. So we have the text coming in here and the URL that has been parsed. So this is really good. So let me just stop this for a second, because we have to come into Perplexity and update this, because here, if you remember, we are sending the data from Perplexity directly, but we want to send it this output from the text parser. So I'm just going to select that and hit OK. And this should be fine for now, but let's also add the WordPress element here as well. So I can click on this and select WordPress. And here I want to create a post for now. And I've already added my site in here. If you don't have your site added, you can come in here and add your site. And in the next section, I'll show you where to go and get this hosting or domains and other things. And also I'll show you a trick, because this I found insightful myself. Like if you want to host like hundreds of blog articles, it can all be done within one single account. So for the title, I'm just going to say it as a draft, because I want to look at this before I publish this. For the content, we have this final step over here where we get the messages. So I'll just say select this, and the type here is where I'll select it as a post, and status, I'll say this is a draft, and author, I can just select myself, and I also select OK on this. So now we have a way to publish this into our WordPress. Quickly, let me just look at this, what output we got here. So this time around, it seems to have done a better job. So we have a good title over here, and we have some nice content for the Deadline Guardian. And if I scroll down, we also have references. So yeah, if it didn't work out in the first instance, just run it again. And having this as a draft on WordPress is really going to help, because we know it's not going to be perfect all the time. If you just want to double check on these articles and then publish it, that would be perfect. So let's just run this once, the entire pipeline, and see what gets published or saved as a draft in WordPress for me. So it looks like they're all running, and now this step of generating the blog article is running. I can just select what URL it is. It's always picking out this Pathfinder Deadline Guardian. That's fine. And let's just wait for it to complete this step and also publish it to WordPress. So if I look at this WordPress, I can see the input content over here, and the output over here, we have the post ID as well. So I just came up to my WordPress site, and I already see the draft in here. So if I just click on preview, I'll do a control click so that it opens up in a new tab, and I can see the article that was just published via make.com or created a draft, and we have all the references. So this is really good. It kind of becomes like a very well researched blog article and has good chance of being ranked on the search engines. Now, if you're doing this on a very new instance of WordPress, you might not see all this formatting, because if you remember, we just got text, but then here we have bold or headers. We have a list over here with bolded text and other things, and we even have a line go through here and references. So this is all properly formatted. But then if I look at my output over here, it looks like it was generated within Markdown. So that is exactly what has happened, because this is the default way all these LLMs kind of output. So if you want to get the formatting that I have here, we have to install a plugin, and that is already very well known in the WordPress community. But if you don't have that already installed, it's called Jetpack. So if you just install that and come into settings and then click on the writing tab and search for Markdown, you'll see there is write post or pages in plain text, Markdown syntax, and you just turn that on. And really quickly, if you come into plugin again, if you don't know how to install this, you can just click on add new plugin and search for Jetpack over here, and it'll be probably the first one that you want to install. And once that's done, maybe you have to recreate the post via the automation that we just did and once you click on here, preview, you'll see it's all automatically formatted. So with this very simple scenario or workflow, we were able to go from looking at all the articles within Google News and research it, select the top article from it, research a bit more, create a comprehensive article by looking at even more websites, and then publish it on WordPress. Now is the fun part. So you can come in here and click on this button, and you can make this so that it runs every day. So maybe you just want to publish one article every day. You can do that over here, or you can do it in very frequent intervals as well, depending on your needs. And you can also click run once if you want to trigger it manually. But don't forget to save this because you don't want to lose this scenario. So now if you've stuck to this section, so I'm hoping you kind of like this video. So if you did, hit that like button and also subscribe to my channel. So now the two things that I promised that I was going to mention. So the first thing is how to go about hosting many of these websites at really, really low cost. So I found this website called hostinger.com, and if I come to the pricing section, this is really interesting because with just this, I believe if you sign up, there's for maybe monthly or 12-month period, it's a slightly more than $750, but it's still worth because you can host 300 websites and you get like unlimited bandwidth and so on, of course, within its fair usage policy. Again, I'm not hosted with Hostinger. I don't have an affiliate link just yet, but I just found this really interesting. And if you want, you can just start with 100 websites or choose a simple plan. And I believe with the cloud startup, you also get dedicated IP, which is very interesting. So that's just one place. If you go to Namecheap or GoDaddy, you'll probably find similar solutions, but I just prefer this because just with one subscription, I can have access to like hundreds of websites if I want to build more automations and more niche article blog sites as well. And that kind of brings me to why do you even want to build many of these niche websites? So let's explore how to monetize this blog, and you'll understand this why. So in this section, we are going to look at ways to make money with our blog. So let's imagine our target, right? So our target is $50,000 per year. So if we break this down to 12 months, so we approximately want to make 4,167, or let's round it off to 4,000 per month. So that is our goal with all this automation that we're putting in place. So the first method of monetizing this is, of course, by signing up to all these ad channels like CPC ads and CPM ads. And a good example is Google AdSense. So this is where someone organically lands on your website and they see a display ad or some other form of ad and they're interested in it and they'll click on it and it takes them to a separate website. So this is how Google AdSense work. And every time someone clicks on that ad that is published in your blog, you get paid a certain amount of money. So that typically ranges from $0.2 to $2.5 per 1,000 impressions. So you're getting paid on impressions. So what does that mean and how much potential can we expect from this? So let's say the impressions needed, this is the formula, the target earnings times 1,000, because this is 1,000 impressions, and divided by RPM, which is revenue per 1,000 impressions. Okay, this is good. Let's move on to the next step. So if RPM is 0.2, if you're getting paid $0.2 for 1,000 impressions, then you approximately need 1 million impressions or million page visits to make $200. And if the RPM is 250, then for $200 per month, you need about 80,000 impressions. So if it's a niche site, then you can demand up to 2.5. And if it's more of a saturated one, it might not be that much. But if you're somewhere in this range, I think ranking with 100K organic rank or organic traffic isn't that difficult in 3 to 6 months. So if you target this, then you can set your goals at $200 per month on just AdSense revenue. It doesn't have to be 200, it can be less or even more, but that's just one way of making your blog pay you. Now, if you're thinking that was only $200 and I was like, okay, we're going to make 50,000 per year. So how else can we monetize this? And just be patient for a second and let me show you next. So we have monthly sponsorships. So you can sell ads directly to advertisers in your niche. So imagine if your niche is around parenting and if your site is attracting enough traffic, you could directly reach out to maybe baby product manufacturer or baby toy manufacturers and try to sell them on advertising on your website. So you can charge as low as $500 for this and have two advertisers. If you get two advertisers, that's like $1,000 a month. So again, it's all kind of building one on top of each other. If you just get one advertiser at 500, that's still a good amount of revenue compared to what we were doing with AdSense. So I just want to kind of broaden your horizon to not just think about Google AdSense. There are many other ways if your blog is really niche and kind of popular. Because imagine the number one thing that attracts the advertisers to you is because your blog is kind of very niche. So anywhere the user or the visitor of your blog turns to, it kind of has that niche, and the advertisers are going to be willing to pay even more, if not just come in at 500. So the next one is, of course, affiliate. So there are Amazon Associates and ClickBanks. So Amazon is good for physical products or even books, and ClickBanks are mostly good for digital products like courses and other things. But let's take an example over here. So let's say a blog with 100k traffic, right? So we are already making $200 with that 100k traffic, and hopefully you also have signed up some advertisers who are willing to pay like 500 per month. And let's say the conversions on this is like 10,000. So 10,000 people actually click on the affiliate links that you have within your blog, and that's like 10% conversion from traffic to click. That's not too bad. If you want, you can reduce this or even make this higher for your calculation. And then from this 10,000, let's say 2% of them actually convert on Amazon and then go in and buy something on Amazon. So that's like 200 sales now you've generated for this particular product. So what does all that mean in the end? So let's say we had 200 sales on Amazon per month, and let's say the product that these people bought were like $25, and let's say the commission was like 5%, so you made $250 per month. And if the product was like $100, and if it's a niche, maybe the products are all slightly higher ticket as well, so you're able to get 5% of that, and that could be like another $1,000 here from affiliates. So that's another revenue stream. And then finally, if your blog is niche enough and you're interested and you're carrying it out for a long time, hopefully you've learned a few things from that blog, and you can create your own courses, ebooks, and the list goes on. So that is a quick way of understanding how to go about monetizing this. And if you just do a quick math on this, you have like 200 from the ad channels, maybe 1,000, so now at 1,200. Maybe on affiliates you made like 1,000 here as well, so that's like 2,200. And then you have some courses and ebooks, and even if you don't do that, 2,200 is good. But let me go back to this slide over here. We said we want to make 4,000, right? So that's 2,000 being really pessimistic. If you're optimistic, maybe it's like 2,500. And if we have 2, 3, 4 of these blog articles, niche websites, then you can easily hit 50k. And if you have some experience of building this, and 1 month down the line you try to go into a new niche, then you can imagine this kind of skyrockets from then on. So hopefully you got to learn something from this video, and if you like this video, again, hit that like button and also subscribe to this channel for more of these kind of AI tutorials and so on. And until next time, I'll see you.